Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hikma Smaila. I have taught myself basically how to navigate through this life in a different way. I decided I physically, emotionally, mentally could not follow the the ways of the world, right? So I had to find out things for myself, and this is my journey in discovering things, and taking breaks is also part of the journey. So yeah, so today I've had this topic written down for a very long time, but I shot the first video, and when I watched it, I was like, no, it didn't feel like it was like flowing. I could not edit it because everything felt like I was a robot, and I was not comfortable with that. So I had to redo that topic. It's very personal. It's a very personal topic to me because it's a very, very important aspect of human life. And as Ghanaians, as Africans in general, we do not usually talk about it. It's more or less like a taboo. So I decided, you know what, I need to research on it and understand it for myself personally. And as I am understanding it, I feel it is, I have the opportunity to share what I have found for myself with a lot of you guys that listen to me and try and understand things from my perspective. So come with me on this very important, very significant journey on understanding what the human emotions are. Yes. Today our topic is going to be based on emotions. That emotions are found in everything. Human beings just learned to categorize emotions as we do everything. Human beings understand things when it's binary, when it's left, right, wrong, correct, negative, positive, male, female. We just know these two. But there are nuances. People experience things differently, and based on that, there's 1,000 billion million number of ways to experience one particular thing. So emotions are very crucial in the human development. You are born crying, you don't understand anything, and you're laughing. They are all emotions that we experience from a very tender age. First of all, what are emotions? According to the internet, emotions are psychological states that involve subjective experience, a physiological response, and a behavioral or expressive response, often triggered by thoughts or events. Now, this is the definition that I feel puts into perspective what emotions are. So I'm going to break that definition down. First of all, it said emotions are psychological states that involve subjective experience. What is a subjective experience? Subjective experience is how individual personally experience an emotion. So first of all, most important thing is that emotions are personal. It's how you personally, it's a subjective experience, how you see it. How I feel joy will be totally different from how another person will feel joy. It doesn't mean that the joy is invalid. It means we are experiencing it differently. So as I said, emotions are psychological states that involve subjective experience. That is how human beings personally experience the emotion. A physiological response is how emotions often trigger physical changes in body. So when you feel anger, your heart rate increases. That's your physical body experiencing, like being triggered by the emotions you are feeling. So it's not only just subjective, it's also appears in your body. You feel it at certain parts of your body. And a behavioral or expressive response. So a behavioral or expressive response is how emotions can lead to observable actions. So how what you are feeling individually, how it's making you feel in your body, and how it's making you behave towards something. So basically, personal reactions to significant matters. So how you react personally to things that are very important, that are significant. If they're not important to you, you don't feel any emotional nothing towards them. They have to be significant for them to elicit some type of, emotions from you. If emotions are subjective, right, you are the one feeling them. You are the only one that knows what you are feeling. Why then do we expect everybody else to feel the exact same way towards everything at the same time? That is my personal problem with everything, because we understand that everybody experiences things differently, or we pretend to understand that everybody experiences things differently. So why then do we expect everybody else to react the same way towards the same things? That's the crazy part. The reason human beings categorize basically anything is just to simply understand it, to make it easy for people to consume the information. That is just it. That is why we like binary stuff. That is why we have masculine, feminine, left, right, wrong, correct, as I was saying earlier. And we've done the same thing with emotions. We've categorized them as negative emotions, and then there are positive emotions, right? So we have the negative emotions, the anger, the shame, the fear. Those are the ones that human beings have decided that no, these things are bad and they are negative. And we have the joy, the hope, the pleasure, all these nice things that we associate with positivity, right? So we've done negative emotions and we've done positive emotions. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's how it makes things easy for people, to consume the information, as I said. But the problem is in our bid to make things easy for people to consume, we've made it that if it's negative, then it's bad and we are not supposed to experience it. And we just have to do the positive side, which is very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous that we have decided as human beings that feeling these things are bad, and so we hide them and we don't experience them and we don't express them, and we are only allowed to experience a selected few. And the reason why it is horrible is because each emotion serves a purpose. It's very important that we remember that each emotion that we feel in our body is supposed to serve a purpose. No matter if you don't like it, it doesn't care. The fact is, something happened, it triggers something in you, and that something is supposed to do something so that your body does something, right? So it's there, it's a given. We cannot choose to ignore it or choose to embrace it. It's a thing, it's there. I put down 3 purposes of emotions. I mean, there are various purposes of emotions, but these 3 I feel are very, very important to our human life and experience in general. Understand ourselves. So it's a deeper understanding of our thoughts, values, and beliefs. The more you understand your emotions are there for you to understand who you are as a person. If you do something and you feel ashamed after you do it, you're not supposed to be doing that. And it's not based on the fact that, it's bad for you. No. Personally, as a human being, as an individual by yourself, you are not supposed to. That is how you tell yourself. That's how you tell yourself whether what I'm doing is good or bad. Not what somebody has told you. Because, yes, maybe they've told you that stealing is bad. But when you steal, you do not feel shame. it aligns perfectly. Like you even feel joy when you steal. That is your personal value. Your personal value is that you're a thief, and that's okay. It's between you and your authorities. Whoever you go and steal, they arrest you. That's your business. My point is, your personal value. That is your personal value. Is what determines how you feel shame, how you feel fear. It's what you believe in. You will tell somebody they're going to hell and they wouldn't care because it does not align with their personal value. It does not mean that your hell is not real. It's real in your world. You're afraid of it. That's your personal value. That's your personal belief. Someone else would genuinely not care about hell and even make fun of it, and you will be shocked and you wouldn't understand. It's because in their personal value, they do not align with the concept of hell. Same way you would watch a true crime series and someone will kill their whole family and then run off with somebody else and they'll be having fun and you'll be wondering, don't you feel anything? No, they don't. Because they do not have, that's their personal value, that's their personal belief. It's wrong in general to kill. It's wrong to, murder somebody or steal, all of that. We've been told what is wrong and what is not wrong. We know that. But people still do it. Why? Because that is what aligns with them personally. It's their personal belief. If you do something that contradicts the personal value you have, the personal belief, you start to feel shame. And shame is telling you that no, you were not supposed to do it. Does not mean shame is bad. Shame is only telling you that between the two of us, when nobody's watching, you're not supposed to do that. You just know you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to laugh with your friends when they saw the woman's shoe. You laughed because you were with your friends, but personally, you are ashamed of laughing. That's how you know yourself. That's how you understand who you are. And you understand where you lie and where your values are, not based on what somebody says. Another purpose of emotions is it coordinates interpersonal relationship. Emotions are what helps us understand the people that we live with, the people that are closest to us, the people that we have interpersonal relationship with. So your partner, your friends, your co-worker, your boss, whoever you end up interacting with and having any type of relationship with them, emotions determine that. And if you do not understand your emotion, you might end up marrying somebody you hate and you don't even know you hate them. You see their name pop up on your phone and you're angry. You don't know why you're angry. It's because you don't like them. It's because you hate them. But because you've not made to understand your own emotion, you think something is wrong with you. Oh, something is wrong with you. Why am I angry just because somebody's calling me? You should understand why, figure out why, and be like, I probably am not supposed to get married to this person. Why do you feel anxious when you get 5 minutes to your boyfriend's house? Why do you have a sick feeling in your stomach when you are close to the door? You're not supposed to be in a relationship with that person. But because you've not learned to understand your feelings, you just think that maybe you're excited or something. You just give it a name and just go about it. But if you know yourself, you know your emotions, you know you're not supposed to be there. The third one, it motivates future behaviors. So it teaches you how to respond to situations in the future. So, for example, if as I said earlier, you've learned that when you do something, you feel ashamed, you know that feeling, you know that you not do it again. It determines and motivates future behaviors. When you understand your emotions and you know how it feels like to talk to somebody you don't like, in the future, when you guys break up and you're talking to somebody and have those feelings again, you identify them and be like, no, I didn't want to get there for me to cross the line. How to process the emotions. I've spoken about how to feel the emotions and all of that. But how do you process the emotions? First of all, you need to understand the emotions you're feeling. understand your emotions. Understand the emotion you're feeling and name them the right way. Sometimes you are sad, but it's coming out as anger because you do not understand the emotion you're feeling. Most of the time it's frustration and not sadness. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it can even be happiness that is manifesting in another way. The point is, you need to understand the emotions you are feeling in order to process them and understand what is happening in the situation. Sometimes understanding the emotions help you understand the situation you are in. Sometimes when you know that you are feeling anxiety or fear, you know that you are in danger. You are literally in danger. It warns you, right? You need to 100% understand the emotions you have. You need to know where you are feeling the emotion. Sometimes the emotions, you might feel it in your head, in your chest, on your body, in your stomach. There's a knot in your stomach. Yes, it is there because it's alerting you. As I said earlier, when I was defining what emotions were, I mentioned that it's a physiological response, meaning you feel it in your body. Your anger is making your heart beat really, really fast. Headaches and all of that. All of these things are manifesting in your body based on the emotion that you're feeling. So you need to find out where you're feeling them in your body and how to regulate them. And when you do that, you learn how to get through them personally. And that's the last point. It teaches you how to get through them personally. You do not need someone outside to come and help you calm down when you know how to calm yourself down. That is you learning how to process your emotions, and that is you getting through them personally. Some emotions you would need help, some you need professional help. I would 100% advise, if you need professional help, to seek it. And the way you would find out that you need professional help is if you understand what is happening to you. If you understand that, no, this I cannot handle by myself, you go ahead and seek professional help. You wouldn't need someone to tell you to go and see a therapist before you go. It is very important that you learn how to process your emotions and regulate them, because first of all, unprocessed emotions are stored. They do not go away. You have a bank, a very wide bank. That's, you would think is really wide, but it's not really that wide. It keeps storing that emotion till it gets to its breaking point. Excuse me. So you might feel anger and hide it, like, oh, this person never gets angry, this person is always chill, this person is always blah, blah, blah. So one day, we always say the quietest person, one day till they explode, you don't know how crazy they can be, right? And it's always healthy, because if you are known as a quiet person and because of that you don't feel the anger, you hide your anger, it turns around to harm you personally. Because if you always, let's say you're keeping your anger, one time your heart, it might say, you know what, I've been doing this, I've been keeping this person's anger for like 35 years, I'm done, it's enough, I can't take it anymore. And then, right, and everybody else be like, oh, he was so young, he was just 35 years old and he had a heart attack. Why? Because nothing happened, it just happened. No, it has been happening for a very long time. Been storing the sadness you don't want to feel, you don't cry. It will manifest, it will become something else. As the more it stores, the dangerous it becomes. And when you keep storing them in your body, you harm your body personally. And those outbursts, you break things, you don't think, and you're doing stuff, ends up hurting people around you. Right? And it's really bad for interpersonal relationships. So you need to learn how to process your emotion. Secondly, emotions are signals and not the problems. The problem is not that you are angry. The problem is not that you are sad. All of those things are valid emotions that need to be felt. The problem is the problem. The problem is the problem. The emotions are just signaling that, yeah, there's something wrong. When someone crosses a boundary and you get angry, anger is not the problem. Your boundary being crossed is the problem, and you need to address it. So when you're able to address that you're angry because somebody crossed your boundary, you don't address the anger. You get through the anger and then talk and get through them. For example, you live with people, right? And somebody came into your room and took something personal of yours. That is annoying. I mean, like your charger. They came in your room and then they took your charger. You come in your room, you're in a rush because you're on 1% and you can't find your charger. You're on an important call, for example, and then the call dies because you know the charger is in the room. So you didn't even charge your phone till it was 1%, and now you're on a call and the call dies. And you're like, where is my charger? I know I left it in the room, but you're exploding and you're shouting and da-da-da. And the charger's with somebody because you're shouting, exploding, like the person doesn't want to give it to you. So the person just ignores you. Another really horrible way to handle on that situation, because why are you ignoring the person that's shouting in the first place? Anyway, my point is, when you came into the room and the charger was not in the room and your phone died, that is it's frustrating. But relax, get through the anger first, get through it, rationalize it, and then come inside. Who took my charger? Next time, don't do that again, please. I need my charger. If you need something, come into my room to ask. You're done. You've done your part. However they choose to take it, if you want to explode because they have not been able to process their anger. If they want to explode, that's their personal thing. It has nothing to do with you because you did what you were supposed to do. You created your boundary. However they want to take it, that's their business. If they have also learned how to, get through theirs, maybe they felt ashamed that they took it without your permission, and now something has happened, and they know how to process it. They will process their shame or process their whatever they want to process, and they'll be like, I'm very sorry I did that. I know that was horrible. I shouldn't have done that. And that is it. You guys, the two of you, have been able to solve your issue without letting the emotion of whatever the person was feeling overcome the entire situation. That is how that is how you use the emotion as a signal instead of the main problem. So at the end of the day, first of all, you solved the issue of people coming into your room without asking. And the person have also understood that when I go into this person's room, I need to ask. And that's it. Thirdly, avoiding emotions drains energy. You and I both know it. The more you avoid your emotions, in fact, suppressing emotion takes more energy than expressing your emotion. The energy that you're using to hide your tears. If you had cried, you're over it. But because you've hidden your crying, hide your crying, and you don't even cry when you're by yourself in your room. You don't do any of that. It takes so much energy from you. You'll be tired physically. Physically, you'll be tired because it takes so much to avoid your emotions. Trust me, you wake up and you're tired because you've not cried. You know my favorite thing? When something happens and you cry one hot afternoon. You cry till your eyes are falling out, and then you sleep. By the time you wake up, the problem is still there. It has not solved itself, but you feel relief. Sometimes you feel guilty about the relief because the problem is still there. But my friend, feel it. That crying and that nap after and you waking up, it's a lot of energy that has been released in your system. You feel relief because you've been able to release, let go of control, release, and then taking a very nice nap. Those naps, when you wake up, your head will be aching because you've slept and you get that energy back. Number 4, it helps for better responses to situations. Being able to process your emotions help you respond to situations better. With my charger example, like, that is the best way, the most ideal way to solve situations when you're living with people, when you want to create boundaries. If everybody you're living with knows how to regulate their emotions and process it, you live with them for so long. People will think that, oh, you guys never fight. It's not about never fighting, because you know that when there's a conflict, you know how to solve the conflict. It's not about you never fighting, because fighting has been put in a negative way. You want to say conflict. People will say, oh, my friend and I, we never fight. And that is them avoiding conflict at all times. But somebody that has been able to process their emotions know that conflict arises. There are times where somebody that you're living with, because you're all human beings, they will do something that you do not like. They will cross a boundary. They will say something you don't want to hear. If you know how to process your emotions, if the next person knows how to process their emotions, the two of you end up having the conflict, but you know how to solve the conflict. You know how to resolve it, how to move on from there. There are some people that break up, and they break up nicely, not because they are, like, friends, or maybe they still love each other or something, but they both understood the situation, realized how to get through the situation, and there is literally, like, there's no bad blood. Both of them understood, you are the bad person, I was the bad person, and that's okay. Do you understand? It is you learning how to go through the emotions. I'm not saying go and pretend that you're friends with your ex. You don't have to pretend you're friends with them. If you don't want to talk to them, that is you processing your emotions. That's totally fine. My point is that people learn how to get through some emotional points in their lives by understanding the emotions, and then that in turn helps them, respond better to the situation that they are in. And lastly, it is great for general healing. Learning how to process your emotions is very, very important for general healing. If you are healed, it does not mean you don't cry. Healing is not always happiness. Healing is not always wins. Healing is not always, on top of the world, positive energy, high frequency, God tier enjoyments. That's not healing. That's performing healing. Healing is understanding that sometimes you will cry. I mean, I use crying as an example a lot because I personally love to cry. It's something that, if you know me, I always say it. I like to cry a lot. And I don't see crying as a bad thing, because every time I cry, right after my intense crying session, I relax, let go, and move on. One of the emotions that I never fully learned how to express was anger, because of personal reasons. But I just learned how to use it in better ways. So you will not see me shouting and breaking something, but you will know I'm angry. I will let you know that I am angry. I wouldn't hide that fact from you. It's something that I still learn, and I'm still learning. The point of this whole video and this whole conversation is that emotions, there's no negative emotion, there's no positive emotions. All of them lead to reactions. It's the reaction that's the problem. And the reaction happens if we do not learn how to process what we are feeling. When you get angry and you break something, it is not the anger that made you break whatever you broke. It is you not being able to process your anger well. Some people get so angry that they do something and then they later regret, and they'll go like, oh my God, I didn't even realize I was doing it. I was so angry. That's not how you're supposed to live. If everybody else is going to do something based on their emotions and not think about it, then the world will be super chaotic. More chaotic than it already is. Right? You need to be able to process what you are doing, understand what you are doing, get through the feeling and detach yourself from that feeling. You felt it has come to pass, and that's okay. Let it go. Observe that you're angry, observe that you're happy. Some people will laugh and they'll be like, I've laughed. They can do the same for tears. You can do the same for fear. You can do the same for any type of emotion. The point is that you do not demonize some emotions and leave others because you prefer to feel happy. But why are you sad? You're a human being. You're born crying.